What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, so we are here, guys. We are finally here. Ultimate Black Panther, #1. Man, and I really love this book a lot. Now, when it comes to the first chapter of this series, it doesn't give us a lot of information about the different characters or the different countries in Africa, and really, I don't mind. And the reason why, because I kind of like the idea of wondering how different things worked out when it came to a certain character or a certain country. But we do get some idea what's currently happening in Africa. Now, with that being said, when it comes to Africa, it's technically being controlled by two characters, Khonshu and Ra. Now, the reason why those two characters are kind of ruling over Africa are trying to make sure that Africa is under their control and everything goes their way because they are currently working for the Maker's Council. Now remember, the Maker came to this universe and made it his own image. He tried to make sure there was no superheroes who would cause a lot of problems for this universe. And so some heroes were never made, like Spider-Man, Thor, and the list goes on. Now the Maker, he's locked away. He's locked away in the city, but he had a council. And so now the council is trying to pick up where he left off at. And so when it comes to Khonshu and Ra, they work for the council to make sure Africa stays under their control. And so it seems like we're going to see, different countries come to Wakanda, work with Wakanda to fight against the forces of Ra and Khonshu. Now, with that being said, we actually pick up in West Africa. Now, when it comes to West Africa, we do actually pick up in a small village where you have people just minding their business, doing different kinds of work, except out of nowhere, every single person in that village is killed off by soldiers who work for Ra and Khonshu. And you're left to wonder, okay, what in the world? Why in the world would it go around killing off people left and right? What did this village do? Now, with that being said, we do see two spies from Wakanda watching over this incident. Now, you would think, okay, they're going to dive in and try to help out the people of this village to fight back against the soldiers of Ra and Khonshu, but they don't. They only came here to gather intel and take that intel back over to their king. And so, unfortunately, this entire village is wiped out. But then we jump over to Black Panther, the king of Wakanda. Now, when he does wake up, we can tell that he just had a nightmare. And we're not really told what kind of nightmare he had. And the nightmare could be the village that just got burned down. Either way, when it comes to T'Challa, when he wakes up, we are introduced to his queen. Now, it's not going to be Storm. No. It's going to be Okoye. Now, when it comes to Okoye being his queen, you would think like, okay, they must have a strong relationship with one another. But it seems like they're not really a couple. It really seems more of like she got married only because it had to be done. Because Wakanda needs their king to have a queen. And so they basically sleep in two separate beds, and their conversations are not really like, hey, are you okay, my loved one? It's more just, are you okay, my king? Yes? Okay, bye. And so we're left to wonder what really happened between these two characters. And so you have T'Challa head over to the Citadel of Knowledge, and we kind of find out the Citadel is being controlled by his father, T'Chaka, who was the former king of Wakanda. Now, the reason why T'Challa came here is because of his dreams. He's kind of hoping that maybe his father has an idea of what is going on, but unfortunately, he does not. Now, when it comes to his father, he tells T'Challa, you need to go talk to the mother of the Voodoo Khan. Now, here's the thing. When it comes to T'Challa, he does not want to do that at all. And the reason why? Because he does not like magic. he does not like sorcerers at all. But when it comes to T'Chaka, he says you need to actually work with her for the time being until you have decided what you are going to do with her. And so we're left to believe that sooner or later he might get rid of magic completely from Wakanda. But until then, he must work with her and then try to use her to hopefully learn what his dreams are trying to tell him. Now, he does go over and pay a visit to the mother. Now, when he does arrive, he kind of gives her the vibe that, yeah, I don't like you, but I'm going to work with you. And she knows very well, but again, she will not disrespect her king, and she'll try to help him, give him counsel about what his dreams are trying to tell him. Now, when it comes to the mother, she says, listen, I feel like right now what's happening in your dreams is that it's trying to tell you what's happening on the outside of Wakanda. More violent things are happening in other countries in Africa, and those things could head towards our way. It's the gods trying to warn you, give you awareness, to tell you that you better get ready to protect your country, to protect your people, to protect your family. Now, when it comes to T'Challa, he's kind of believing what she is saying here. He's all like, what if she's telling me the truth? What if the gods are really talking to me through my dreams to help me get ready for what could possibly come to Wakanda? And so he does take her warning and leaves, but we're left to wonder, will he actually try his best to protect Wakanda before it's too late? Now, we kind of find out the two spies we saw at the very beginning of this video, they work for T'Challa, of course, but they're part of the Dora Milaje. Now remember, usually the Dora Milaje are like the best warriors in Wakanda, and we're left to believe it is technically the same thing here in this universe as well. And so when it comes to the Dora Milaje, they come back to report to T'Challa what they saw in West Africa. Now, this really does bother T'Challa a lot, but he says, thank you for your information, you may leave, because we are not going to do anything at all. Now, as soon as they leave, it leads into an argument between T'Challa and his sister Shuri. And the reason why, because she just heard that other people outside of Wakanda are being attacked by Khonshu and Ra. People are being killed off left and right, and we are not going to help them. That is a huge problem. But for T'Challa, he says, listen, I didn't say we're not going to do anything at all. I said just not right now, because we need to gather intel. We need to learn our enemies better before we go to war against them, because if we do, most likely we are going to fail. Now, when it comes to this argument, you do have the Queen of Wakanda, Okoye, be on T'Challa's side, because she agrees that it'd be foolish to go to war with an enemy that you don't know who they are or what they can do. And so she tells Shuri, you need to step down, not because your brother is the king, because your brother is right. And so she is very upset and Shuri leaves. But we kind of find out that the Dora Milaje, they have been trying to go to war against this enemy, Ra and Khonshu. But again, T'Challa has been saying no. And so they have been trying to use Shuri to kind of reach the idea of going to war. They want that war. And this could mean that they might try to use Shuri as a way to remove T'Challa as king and replace him with her to become queen of Wakanda. Because they might feel like, hey, you are not doing a good job protecting our country. We need to go to war with these people now. But for T'Challa, that's not a good idea. Now we do jump back over to West Africa, and when we do, we see another village in West Africa being attacked by a group of soldiers who work for Khonshu and work for Ra as well. And these soldiers are about to go around kill off every single person in this village, except they are stopped by Killmonger. And so this tells us that Killmonger is out there trying to protect his people. But he's not alone. We kind of find out Storm works alongside with him, and she is known as the Wind Rider. Now we're left to wonder though, hey, are these two characters possibly together? But either way, they are the two protectors of Africa, it seems. And so they were able to use their skills and powers to protect this village. And this is a great thing. But will T'Challa work alongside with them? But we have to jump back over to Wakanda, the ending of this story, because we do pick up with Wakanda currently having a huge celebration. They are celebrating the idea that their country is protected and is so great. Unfortunately, in the middle of T'Challa's speech, out of nowhere, we see two suicide bombers who are both working for Ra and Khonshu. And with those bombers being there, they're trying to kill off T'Challa, but he was saved at the very last second by his father, T'Chaka. He was able to push his son off the high rise, and then the bombs go off. We already know T'Chaka is dead, but his son lives on. But on the way down, you have T'Challa transform into the Black Panther suit. And so you're like, okay, at this point, he was already Black Panther, but he does tell his people they are going to war against Ra and Khonshu. They are going to war against the people who call themselves Moon Knight. And this is where we are going to end today's comic book video. So please leave me a like down below and subscribe. But guys, see y'all next time. Later.